everybody, and welcome to Books Unbound, the podcast where we unbind books to get to their hearts with your hosts, us. It's Ariel and
Raeleen.
Yes. Yes. I'm excited. I'm feeling good. Let's just rip this Band-Aid right off for my visual viewers out there. I'm trying another new background.
Oh, God. It's funny because I can't see what it is. Like, it just looks like you're
It looks the exact same
recording the same, so I'm really curious.
It looks the exact same to you, Raeleen, because we're back to at my desk, but I flipped the camera from it used to be on my left, and now it's on my right, and that's really changed everything. So I've done a little finagling, kind of shoved it behind my desk. I also have this beautiful vase of flowers that I bought a couple days ago, and good Lord, they're beautiful. They're so beautiful. I was like, you know what? I don't even care if it's a little bit awkward. I'm dragging these into frame.
Oh, yeah.
So there's just like, it's my head and then just a bunch of flowers. But what I didn't think about was while we've been setting up and like chatting before hitting record is I can really smell them. It's so nice.
Yeah,
like, I guess
I
I'm
love
just never
flower
this
smell.
close to flowers for more than a couple of minutes or whatever. And it's a good life.
I know the other
It's a
day I was
good
at my
life.
mom's house and I was just like sitting on the couch and I was like, why does it smell so glorious? And then I realized she had a whole bunch of flowers on a table and I was like, wow, I love that.
It's true. It's so beautiful. I'm really excited to tell you about my adventures in reading this week. Like, very genuinely had such a fun, weird little book week.
Well, that's awesome. I've had a weird week, but not in a book-related way. So I'm excited to tell you about
Okay,
that
maybe
too.
let's start there. That's an intriguing place to go. What happened?
I've just like had a couple of strange viewing experiences this past week, which is going to be really fun.
Movies?
Kind of. So I'll start you off. Let me take you back to last
Please.
Wednesday.
Take us back.
On Wednesday, I went and saw something incredible, something strange, something, who knows why I was even there, but I went and saw with a couple of my friends, Shrek the Musical Junior, a local production. I knew you were not going to be expecting that.
God, I took a sip of tea at the exact right moment. Tell me more.
So
go on.
Yeah, so there was like, I don't know how we found this. It's kind of a mystery how we came across it, but somehow we were looking up Shrek things in my area and we stumbled upon,
As we all do.
I know. I
Yeah.
really don't know how we got here, but my friend and I really love Shrek the Musical. It used to be on Netflix, so we've watched it and it's great. It's like this great actual musical. And
Gotcha.
so somehow we came across this. There was a local production playing. A bunch of like 10 to 15-year-olds were doing their version of Shrek the Musical. And
Amazing.
we booked the tickets like a month ago because we discovered it a month ago and we're so excited. We were the only people in the theater when we booked these tickets.
No.
We booked our seats and we're like, wow, we can sit anywhere we want. This is
Yeah.
awesome. On the Wednesday when we showed up, obviously the theater was full of their parents and family and stuff, but it was just so funny to me that we booked tickets before these kids' families even booked tickets.
Yeah, that's
like
kind
that's
of
how
hilarious.
excited we were. And after the show, everyone was kind of, milling about waiting for their children to get changed and come out. And we were like, well, I don't
Yeah.
know anyone here, so we're just gonna sneak out. It was so funny. We
gonna
were the
leave now.
only people there who didn't know a child in the production, but it was so much fun. Like,
That's awesome.
It was kind of like what you expect a children's musical to be, but
Sure.
it was also very hilarious. And
What grades were the kids?
I don't know, but I would estimate they were roughly like age 10 to 15 for the most part. Like,
Okay,
it wasn't a school
gotcha.
production. It was just like a local theater
like
thing.
a local theater. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it was just great. It was really funny. Like, the kid that played Donkey looked like a rabbit. Like, his costume didn't look like a donkey at all. So when he came out, I was like, who's that guy supposed to be? There was a lot of fun stuff like that.
I love that.
It was really great. It was just so much fun. And now
so
it's like, it's
awesome.
got me wanting to watch the musical again because I was actually listening to the music at work the day after because I was like, wait, I want to hear what these songs are actually supposed to sound like with people with big voices and stuff. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun. But I wanted to tell you about that because it was just a strange little thing that I did.
Really, really fun. And it reminds me of, this is a core memory with me and my brother. So CJ did his undergrad, and when he was, I don't know, he did like some music course or something. I don't really remember. But he had to, as part of the course, go to like 4 different events in the local community throughout the semester, and you had to prove that you'd gone by like showing the ticket or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
So I remember it was near the end of the semester, and maybe it wasn't 4, maybe it was literally just like 2, but like it was near the end of the semester, and he was like, Ariel, I forgot that I had to go to one more show. We need to just go to something. Like I remember it was a little desperate.
Yeah.
And he was like, but I found that there's going to be an orchestra night at the university. Like so there was at I forget what university it was, at Western or something. Like a neighboring university.
Okay.
And I was like, yeah, I can go. That sounds great. You're going to buy me tickets to the orchestra? Okay.
Sure.
I don't even think I've ever gone to the orchestra before. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
We showed up, and it was a children's orchestra recital. And I'm talking 6-year-olds playing the violin. And it was like their final recital to kind of like they'd finished the year, and now they were doing their little recital, and they were all dressed really fancy. The parents were all dressed really fancy. Oh, and we had to sit through it because we had to go to the event. When I tell you, my core distinct memory is of how difficult it was for us not to laugh. We were trying so hard not to laugh, and it was not because the kids weren't good. They were great, but it was the absurdity. It was the absurdity of the situation. And we're just like, what are we doing here? It was very similar to what you're saying, really. Where it was like, these are just parents watching their children graduate, and we're just there. And like, we bought tickets. They want us to go. They wanted you to go to that show, but you still can't you can't help but feel out of place. Yeah. It was so ridiculous. So I love that you had that experience.
Yeah,
well, it reminded me of a good time. It was
so funny too, because we were sitting like in the second row, because when we bought our tickets, I was like, I think it would be rude to sit in the front row, because surely there's going to be parents that want to sit there, but I was like, but I want to be close, like I still want to be able to see the show. And so we were sitting behind just like a grandmother who she actually looked back at us at one point because we were laughing so hard because the show was genuinely funny, and she was like, who are these people? What is happening? Because we were so into it. Sick. Yeah. And we were sitting so close to the stage that I was just like trying to hype up the kids, like giving them like, I was like really like smiling for them and showing them that, I was genuinely enjoying the show. That's beautiful. It was really funny. So that was, and I actually kind of like dressed up as well. That was the other thing. I wore like green and brown, and I put my hair into little buns on my head so that I looked like Shrek. So much so that when I went to go buy a drink from the concession, the lady said, "You look very young. Can you please show me your ID?" And I was like, "Oh, it must be my buns."
Is it my little Shrek buns?
Is it my Shrek buns that make me look like I'm maybe 16? So that was really fun. But then yesterday I did something else that's also kind of a funny viewing experience.
Okay. My God.
So yesterday I went with the same friend that I went to Shrek with. But also my tattoo artists organized this thing. We went to go see Breaking Dawn Part 2 in the movie theater.
That's so sick.
Yeah, so
that's so sick.
So long story short, a couple of my tattoo artists, I follow them on Instagram, and they posted that they were going to see this movie because one of them had never seen Twilight, and over the past few months they've been watching each movie, and this is the big finale. She's never seen it before. Everybody else who was there was maybe 25 of us all together.
Yeah.
She was the only one who had never seen it. So obviously there's a huge part later in the movie that's like a huge plot twist, and if you haven't seen it yet, it's so shocking, and it was so funny. The whole theater just like went quiet, and she just screamed out, "What?" And it was just so funny because we were all talking and laughing, making jokes throughout the movie, so it was like watching it with your friends, even though I didn't really know most of the people. So it was genuinely the funniest viewing of that movie ever. Like, I noticed so many strange things, and like everybody was commenting on things. Like whenever Renesmee puts her little hand on people's faces, her hand looks huge. That's something that people should look out for next time you watch that movie. It is so strange. But yeah, it was just really, really fun. People dressed up. People were wearing full glitter all over their entire bodies, and like it was just a really good time. So
and you know, that reminds me of when I went and saw Mean Girls at a theater, and it was, I don't remember what they called it, but it was like a thing where you could talk, like you were allowed to talk and make jokes and stuff.
That's awesome.
And it was so amazing how everyone knew all the lines. So
I can imagine, yeah.
Like whenever the iconic lines happened, it was more like I don't know, it was like participatory theater almost.
Yeah, like everyone is screaming the lines.
We're all screaming the lines. She doesn't even go here. Like, but imagine a theater of 400 people shouting that, and you're just
amazing.
like, yeah. We all love this movie, don't we? Like, it's such an iconic movie. That sounds incredible. So much fun. Sorry, did you say it was Breaking Dawn Part 1 or 2?
2.
Okay, so the finale.
Yeah,
gotcha.
It was so awesome. So awesome. But yeah, it was just like in a tiny little theater that they rented out for this special event, and we all got popcorn and a drink and everything. Like it was just a lovely little experience. I wish I could have more experiences like that. Like having everybody just shouting during a movie was very fun. Yeah. Because that's what I do when I watch movies with my friends. Like that's what I do at home.
Yeah. So. But you don't want to just do that randomly. Like you don't want to just go into the like Cineplex and every movie you see is people shouting.
Yeah,
you've got to sign up for it. You got to sign up. You got to know what you're signing up for.
Exactly. That's not a good experience generally. If you know what you're in for, then it's fun. But yeah, that's my week.
I agree with you, Raeleen. You had some weird viewings this week.
I did.
That's so fun. I really love that. Okay, well, the first thing that I want to mention is that I got something really, really exciting in the mail.
Okay.
And it is our next round of bookmarks.
So cute.
So, yeah, these are the next round of bookmarks in our bookmark subscription. These were illustrated by Ningya Nil, who is this really just super talented artist that we found on Instagram, and we reached out to them and they were like, yeah, I'll do bookmarks. And we were like, woohoo, because these are so cute. These are so precious. Cute.
She actually has a children's book coming out soon, I think. I just saw that on her Instagram as well. I think it's only available in Australia, but if you're in Australia and looking for a cute kids book, it's that's art, really cool. But in a book, which is really cool.
Oh my gosh. And then it also came with the 2 stickers that you get when you get the subscription.
The little cat.
Which is so beautiful. So I think I'm going to have to put one or both of these on my e-reader.
Absolutely.
Wow. These are so cute.
Some of the cutest stickers.
So yeah, if you are subscribed to our bookmark subscription, they're on their way to you. I only just got these a couple days ago, and just because of international shipping being what it is, it just takes a while to get out to everyone. But I wanted to just shout that out because we're so excited, and I will link in the description to Ningya on their Instagram because it's such a beautiful Instagram page. You really need to be following them. Their art is so beautiful. Yeah, so super excited about these guys, and we really hope that everyone that got them likes them. Okay, next, I'll tell you about my journey.
Yes, please.
I went on a journey. I went on an adventure. So a couple of days ago, I took Connor to the airport because he had to go to a conference. And so I took him to the airport, I dropped him off at the airport, and then I coordinated it so that while I was in the Halifax region, I would also do a Facebook Marketplace pickup.
Okay.
You got to do what you got to do, right? So I coordinated this pickup, and it was for a bunch of cabinet doors.
Okay. How exciting.
I'm really out here living. But I bought them. I felt really excited about the whole situation. Like the doors are so beautiful, but the area that the house was in was so beautiful as well. Have you seen Grace and Frankie?
No.
Okay. Well, for people that have, it was houses like that, like these really beautiful coastal houses that all have wraparound porches and like have these big ocean views. And I'm just like, these people are living.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just such a beautiful neighborhood where I was buying the doors. And that's when you know you've got a good Facebook Marketplace find, when it's rich people who are just getting rid of their things. Because they're like, oh, we're renovating. We don't need these doors anymore. Or we don't need these. I've gotten such good things like my staircase spindles was just this really rich family in Halifax. They were like, oh, we're getting new ones. So we just want to get these out of here. And we don't want them to go to landfills. But they don't really care about getting their money back. So you get them for like these really good prices. Anyway, so I picked them up. And I realized that I was near Peggys Cove. So Peggys Cove is one of the like tourist destinations in Nova Scotia. Like when people come to Nova Scotia, they often go to Peggys Cove, and it's because it's really a really beautiful little spot. It's a tiny, tiny town, but it has like a really iconic looking lighthouse. Like when you picture a lighthouse in your mind, like a generic lighthouse, that's what's at Peggys Cove, like a true, honest to God lighthouse. And it's on this really epic rock formation that you can walk around and everything. I've never been, because when I moved to this province, it was COVID. So for the first year and a half of living here, I didn't do anything touristy. And then for the last year, I've done some things, but just I haven't gotten around to everything. So Peggys Cove was on my list, and I realized I was 15 minutes away from it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to Peggys Cove.
Whoa, an adventure.
So it was really fun because I went on a solo adventure.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Not to get philosophical here with Raeleen, but my mom the other day, right now it's just me and my mom at home because my dad's out flying because he's a helicopter pilot, and so he's away right now, and Connor's at this conference for a while, and so it's just me and my mom at home, and I love it when it's me and my mom. Like, we get up to no good. We're just lots of good shenanigans over here. But she came into my room. I don't remember what I was doing, but she was like, Ariel, do you ever, like, on your way home, do you ever stop at a cafe and just have a coffee? And I was like, no, like, if I'm going home, I just go home.
Yeah.
And she was like, when I was your age, because my mom grew up in Honduras, and she lived in Honduras until she was my age, which kind of scares me. And then she moved to Canada. It's kind of a horrifying thought. Next year she would have been pregnant with me.
Oh,
if
my
you
God.
Know let's not think about that. But anyway, she was really an independent woman in Honduras, and she loved going on adventures and day trips and doing stuff. Like, she was a very active and social person. And so she was like, I would just go places, and like, I'd be on my way home, but I'd see a cute cafe, so I'd stop and I'd have a coffee and I'd chat with people, and then I'd go home, or I'd stop at a stand and like have taquitos on the way home, and I'm just like, yeah, you're right. She's like, anyways, and then she just left, and I was like, I don't know if you realize that you just made like a really big impact on my brain, and I'm gonna be thinking about this. And so that happened like a couple days ago or whatever, and then the thing happened where I realized I was near Peggys Cove, and I was like, I'm going to Peggys Cove.
Have to go.
Okay?
Yeah.
I gotta go.
That's amazing.
It was such a beautiful day. It was just me and the ocean. And I loved it. It's not yet tourist season, and so there wasn't a lot of tourists. It was also kind of a windy day, which is scary near the ocean, but in a fun, exciting, exhilarating way. You just have to be smart about it. Raeleen, there's these, I've posted about this on my personal Instagram. If people want to see photos of the day, go to my Instagram. But there's this sign when you walk onto the rocks that says, warning, injury and death have rewarded careless sightseers here. The ocean and rocks are treacherous. Savor the sea from a distance.
That's a very dramatic
sign. And I was like, I'm going to stick to the path.
Yeah.
So I just like took the little path to the lighthouse, and I looked around, and I took like a really big breath, and I was like, this is good. And then I took the path back to the restaurant, because I was like, I'm not gonna die.
Yeah.
People do, they like they get too close to the edge, and then like a wave will come up and take them out. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful with the ocean. But anyways, I then had one of the best lunches of my life. And when I look back at the photo, I'm like, I had rice and steamed vegetable. Like,
I saw the photos, and I was like, that doesn't look the greatest.
It wasn't like this extravagant meal or anything. It was really cheap, but it was so filling, and like, it felt healthy in a good way, you know, when you're like eating the kind of food that really fills you and you feel good afterwards. And then, but also like, it was just me and a cup of coffee, and I was joking with the waitress, and I was reading my book, and I was like, you know what? Life ain't that bad.
Yeah.
Life ain't that bad. It was a really, really nice day. So anyway, I didn't mean to go on so much about that. I had a really lovely day at Peggys Cove, and I will say it's really lovely. And if you're traveling to Halifax and you're looking for something to do for like half a day or whatever, that I would recommend it. It's a nice spot. But I will also say that I don't think it's like way more beautiful than other little towns that I've been to, like Lunenburg and stuff. I'm just like, this is just such a pretty province. Lots of pretty little towns. The point of this story, though, the place I was going to, Raeleen, is that I realized there was a bookshop near there.
Good.
And as you know, I'm trying to go to all of the bookshops in Nova Scotia this year. So I was like, cool, I'm going to go to this bookshop. So it's not in Peggys Cove. It's like on the way back to the highway.
Okay.
But I stopped by Otis. Wait, is it Otis? Is it Otis? Otis and Clementine.
Oh, that's a great name.
Yes, it is. And I'm so excited. I had such a great time. It was a really great bookshop. I really think I met the owner because she just had the air of a bookshop owner. And she was so great to chat with. I was in such a good mood because I'd like just restored my sense of being at Peggys Cove. And so I was in a great mood and I was being chatty and stuff. And so I wonder if it was Clementine. Is that
could have been
Otis and Clementine? Maybe. Or now I'm looking at their website and maybe it was Ellen. I think maybe that wasn't what they were named after. But anyways.
It was Ellen.
It was a really great bookshop. If you're in the region, I definitely recommend going to this bookshop. It has a cat. And outside, I'll send you this photo, Raeleen, but we'll put it right here on screen. And I did take lots of photos, like specifically for the Instagram. So go to our Instagram at books_unbound to see the photos. But there is this giant sign on the outside of it, Raeleen, that said, oh wait, let me find it because I want to read it properly. It said like, come inside and meet. Oh yeah, come meet Seamus, the bookshop cat. On this giant billboard thing. And I was like, I've come to the right place.
He's like a roadside attraction.
Yeah, basically. And I met him. He was great. He was sleepy when I met him. Aww. He was sleeping on a chair. I'm texting you.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Now. It's a giant sign.
It's a giant sign. Come meet Seamus, the bookshop cat. So I guess this bookshop... Okay, this is what's really funny. I don't know if it was when I had first moved here or before I moved here, but I remember one of my like pieces of news for book news was about a bookshop that fostered kittens. Oh, I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah,
ages
I remember
ago.
that.
This is that bookshop. What? From time to time, they foster kittens, and they have like a whole section where it's part of the bookshop, but they just have little gates as well. So like it's like cat control. And so Seamus is a cat that the owner adopted like in November, I think she said, because she'd been fostering him, and then she fell in love with him, so she adopted him. I believe was the story or something like that. But anyway, Seamus now lives there and I loved him. So it was a really, really great bookshop. It had a really great selection. It was a fully used bookstore, but you could tell that the owner had a real good eye for good finds. And so I was looking around and I was like, I'm not sure if I'm really looking for anything. I don't want to be buying books unnecessarily right now. Obviously, we're on our book buying ban, or not our book buying ban, but our like no buy month and whatever. But I was like, so I don't really want to buy anything, but I want to look around. If I see something for $2, sure. But and then I stumbled upon, and they had a really great kids section. And I'm going to a baby shower in a couple of weeks, and I was like, my goal was to get a bunch of books for this baby anyways, so I was like, oh, maybe they've got some, and I found Go Dog Go, and I was like, okay, this is great. And then I found another lovely book, so I bought 2 kids books, and then I asked, I was like, do you have a Western section? Because apparently I'm into Westerns now. I felt crazy asking. I felt like a lunatic. And she was like, yeah, over here, and they had a little section for Westerns. Oh my God. And I had to pick up this amazing copy of Lonesome Dove. Look how good this is, Raeleen.
That's wild.
This is, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can.
It's awesome.
It's perfect. It's perfect. And I think it was $4 or $3 or something. I was like, I'm sorry, I gotta get that. Yep, I'll be purchasing this one, okay? Adding that to my Westerns collection. And then I was like, cool, I'll get the, damn it. I was like, I'll just get the kids books and Lonesome Dove. I'm good. So I'm literally paying, and then I see an entire classic section. And And I was like, oh no. I literally said to her, I was like, I wish I hadn't seen that. She's like, yeah, a lot of people don't see that when they walk in because it's kind of like it's right beside the door.
Yeah.
And so you kind of walk in and you don't think to look there. And I was like, damn it. And I went over and I bought 4 books. But you'll see why.
Yeah.
The first one I had to get, and I honestly got it because of you. I got Watership Down by Richard Adams. Look how good this edition is.
That's a great copy.
It is a perfect copy. I absolutely love him. So I had to get this copy of Watership Down. Again, like $2 or whatever. Yeah. Love it. Beautiful. And then, this is where it all went to shit. No, this is where it just spiraled a little bit. Because they had my dream box set. Of the Emily of New Moon series.
Cute.
With the amazing vintage covers.
You can't beat that.
I couldn't. I literally was like, I'm not going to walk away from these because I've been really wanting them. And there's another reason, which we'll talk about in a second, why I needed to get them. And so I was like, I'm sorry. I'm buying these. Oh well. So yeah, they were in a little box, but the box was kind of junky. And I was like, I don't need the box. I don't want the box. Just give me the book. So they're in great condition. And now I have my Lucy Maud Montgomery collection lives on.
Do you have a lot more that you still need, or are you pretty much maxed out now?
For books that Lucy Maud Montgomery wrote?
Yeah.
Raeleen, she wrote so many books. It's shocking. It's shocking. It's actually a little shocking. I was like, I didn't realize that she was as prolific. As she was. But the main thing, the reason that like she is as prolific is because they keep publishing new versions of like different bind ups of her short stories. So yeah, I'm like, I think most of her books are just collections of short stories, which I'm not that worried about. But anyhow, it was a really great bookshop. If you're in the area, I recommend it. It was sort of like in a strip mall, like not sort of, it is. It's like in a larger complex, but it was one of those, which is such a classic type of bookshop, like used bookshop in a strip mall situation. But it had a great selection, and the owner was really friendly, so I had a great time. Did you get any books this week?
I did, yeah. I kind of alluded to this last week when I told you I bought some books, but I didn't have them ready. So I will show you now what I got. So this is a case of my local bookshop finding things for me. I didn't go out looking for these. They found them. Well, I kind of went out looking for one of them, but okay, we'll get there. We'll get there when we get there. So first off, I found this copy of The Eyes of the Dragon by Stephen King, which is a book I've been kind of looking for a long time. And specifically, like, I wanted a nice edition. I always see it in like a junky hardcover, and it just doesn't go with the rest of my Stephen King collection. I have a whole bunch of these mass markets. And so I found it. And it was cheap, and it's in perfect condition, so I decided to finally pull the trigger on that one. This next book, when I got the call that this book was ready for me, I was so excited. And then I kind of, to like get myself prepared, I was like, you know what, I should look up and see if there are different covers than the one I know. Because I'm about to show you, and you'll understand. It's a book that I was very excited for, a book that you own in a very beautiful edition. That book is The Wall by Marlon Haushofer. However, look at how hideous this cover is.
No.
I'm going to just scroll it for you. Look at this.
That's just...
half the cover is a quote.
Ain't so good. That's really bad.
So before I went to go pick it up, I was like, you know, I should really get myself prepared for the possibility that it's not going to be the beautiful cover with the cow on it. And so I looked up the book on Goodreads, and there was that cover, this cover, and there was also a third cover that was just like this beautiful illustration with like a woman up next to a wall or something. And I was like, oh, I really hope it's that one or the one with the cow. But I just, in my gut, I knew it was going to be the worst one. And it was. So if I ever find a nicer copy of this, I'm definitely going to buy it. But I'm so excited to finally own this, because you bought it last year when we were together. We really should.
We should buddy read it.
I've been looking for this ever since you got it, because it just sounds so cool. That's the one that's about a woman who like is trapped in a, like behind a wall or something. I can't even remember what it's about exactly, but
yeah, it's like a person really in like a really rural place wakes up, and there's like an invisible wall surrounding her entire kind of homestead, and she can't leave.
So spooky.
Yeah,
I'm really excited about that. Okay, next up is another one I've been kind of looking for since this book came out. I got We Were Dreamers by Simu Liu, which is a biography. And for those who don't know, he's an actor. He was in Shang-Chi. He's the lead actor from that. And he's just so awesome. And I would I just want to learn more about him. So I've been looking for that one. I'm
sure it's good.
It's got to be. It's got to be good. Yeah. So I'm very, very excited about that. And then the last book I got was one that I did kind of go looking for it because somebody, I can't remember who it was now, but one of our patrons commented on one of our recent Movie Tub episodes because I talked about a movie called Coda that I recently watched, which is about a girl who her whole family is deaf and she's the only hearing person in her family. And someone was like, I haven't seen that movie, but you've got to read this book. Check out this book. And so luckily my local used bookstore had this, which I was not expecting. Crazy. It's called True Biz by Sarah Novick.
Oh, I've definitely seen this book. I feel like maybe it was a book of the month.
It's part of it was okay. And it's also one of Reese's book club picks, so it's probably been all over the place. There's a quote from Celeste Ng on the front. Like it seems like it's a pretty big book. And this one it's about a bunch of kids that go to a school for the deaf, and just like it's kind of like a teenage kind of high school book. And I don't really know what the plot is, but I don't care because I'm just like, I'm already like, just that alone is enough for me to be excited. And really a personal recommendation from one of our patrons was, awesome as well.
Yeah.
So
that's the cherry on top.
Really, really excited about all those books. Yeah. I was like, do I need these? I thought about it and I said, yes, I do need these. And so I got them. I was very careful to get books that I'm actually excited about and not just buy random stuff. So
yeah, I will say, I guess probably all the books I bought are a little bit acorny, where they're like, these are acorn books. Like I probably won't be reading Watership Down soon.
But it's one you gotta have.
It was such a good addition with a classic. That is like, for me, the big thing is like, I love finding beautiful editions of these old books. So when you find one, you kind of just got to grab it. You don't know if you're going to find that version again.
Exactly.
Okay, I am so excited to tell you what I read this week.
Please.
So last week, you said to me, I forget what you were saying, but you were you had just kind of gone off the rails a little bit with your mashed potato TBR.
That's true. I did.
And you were like, it's still mashed potato books. They're just not the ones we said we'd read. Like, we should just follow our hearts. Yeah. And I really took that to heart.
Oh, good.
Wow. Last week was full of women giving me great advice.
Just telling you what you needed to hear.
And I was like, we finished recording that episode, and then that night I think I was like, what do I want to read? Okay, what do I feel like? What is calling to me? Because the stuff I'm reading right now, I feel I'm not feeling it. And that is when I decided to start reading The Blue Castle by Lucy Maud Montgomery.
Wow.
And this is a mashed potato book for me. Totally. Because if you remember, I started reading it last year and I put it down for God knows what reason. And I've owned it for a while now, maybe even 2 years. And so I was just like, this is a mashed potato book, and it's something that I've started and wanted to keep going on. So I'm going to pick this up and see if I'm feeling it.
Okay.
When I tell you, Raeleen, that this is now one of my favorite books of all time, and that I read the whole thing in like 3 days or whatever, I love this book.
Oh, I'm so happy.
So much. So please let me tell you all about it. This is the story of Valency. And I fucking love Valency so much. Okay, so she's 29 years old. I don't think it specifies in the book what year the story is set. Like, I think it's supposed to be a little bit vague. Yeah. But it's like the 1910s or 1920s, like around then. So there's like a little bit of electricity and like there's cars, but like she's never been in a car. So that, if that helps set the scene a little bit. Okay. So Valency lives in a house, in an old house with her mom. And her cousin, who I think is more like an aunt, basically, her aunt, comes over every single day and hangs out with her mom. And they're these two older, grouchy women who just won't let Valency live. Like, they just are so overbearing and have her in such a strict lifestyle that she feels that life is terrible. Like, she just absolutely hates her life. So the book starts on the morning of her 29th birthday, and she's having a breakdown. Like, she's laying in bed and she's like, I hate everything. I hate myself. I hate my life. I hate this stupid room. I hate that stupid picture. And I hate the way I do my hair. And I hate my clothing. And honestly, I don't really like my parents very much.
Yeah.
Like they're not nice to me.
Oh, man.
Like, no one in my family is nice to me. And her last name is Sterling. She's part of the Sterling clan, like the family that's been in this town for many generations. Yeah. And her whole family is super stifling. So we meet this character. It's like classic, right? Like, we meet this character at a terrible point in her life. I love that it's her birthday too, right? Like, you're like, things are they have to change.
Yeah.
So very early on in the book, and I don't consider this a spoiler because it is right at the beginning, and I think that it helps kind of convince people to read this. So very early on, she's having these, like, I thought they were panic attacks. She's having these, like, heart murmuration moments, and she doesn't want to tell anybody about them because she doesn't want to make a big deal, because she knows people will get mad at her, and they always make fun of her for being sickly, and she's like, it's fine, I'm probably fine. But then she has, like, a pretty big one, like a little moment. And so she's like, I'm gonna go to the doctor. No, I can't go to the doctor, because if I will go to the doctor, I have to ask my mom if I'm allowed to go. She's like, I'm 29, I should be able to go. She's like, no, I can't go. I definitely can't go without asking. She's like, but they'll never say yes, because they hate that doctor now. They hate him because he, like, gave bad advice to an uncle once. Or, you know what I mean? So she's like, you know what, I'm gonna go. So she goes to the doctor, and the doctor tells her that she only has a year to live, that she has, like, a really serious heart condition. Yeah. And I'm reading this like, this is not what I expected this book to be about, right? Like, I was really imagining Anne of Green Gables, I guess, simply because that's the other novel I've read by Lucy Maud Montgomery. Like, I'm just imagining, like, a really wholesome little girl on a farm, and I've got this 29-year-old who's depressed and she's dying. And I'm like, wow. So she goes back home, and she's, like, really weird that night. Like, she's like, this is a lot to take in. She's laying in bed that night, and she says this quote that's gonna stick with me forever. She basically says to herself, she's like, I'm not upset that I don't have a future. I'm upset that I don't have a past. Like, she's upset that she's never lived.
Never done anything.
Like, dying is gonna mean nothing because she hasn't experienced life. And so she vows that day that for however long she has left, she's going to do things her way.
Awesome.
It's so exciting. Like, it's so exciting. I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills remembering it and thinking about it, because I'm just like, do it, Valency. You're not trapped. Guys, I'm literally about to cry right now. I'm like, you're not trapped. You can still change things. Like, you can still turn things around, right? Like, you're 29, and even if you only have a year left or 6 months left, like, you can still have so much fun in that time. And so she does, and she starts to become, like, a pariah from her family. They think she's going crazy. They, like, literally are talking about putting her in an asylum. Oh, and thankfully none of the doctors agree. They're like, she's not doing anything. And the doctor's like, the uncle's like, she's being really rude. And the doctor's like, that's not anything. But she, like, starts doing her hair different. And so, like, slowly she starts changing things, but then she makes some bigger changes in her life. And that is the catalyst of the story, but a lot of really fun things happen that I don't want to spoil at all, because I want people to read this. I really want people to read this book. I flew through it. Like, genuinely, Raeleen, on the night when I finished it, I stayed up till, like, 2 a.m. reading. Oh my gosh. And I never do that anymore. Like, that is, for me, not something. But it was so readable. It was really fun in a very classic story way, where it was just, like, not really about flowery language or anything. It was just like, this is a fun story about a character who's changing her life. I really recommend this to people who loved Anne, because it does have the same kind of beautiful, wholesome vibes. It's, like, feminist in a way that, like, is from that period, where it's like the woman is, like, she's trying her best, but it's also, like, old-timey, so it's set in a historical setting, which is fun. I really recommend it to people who like Charlotte Lucas, the character from Pride and Prejudice. Oh, okay. There's a really famous scene from Pride and Prejudice, and, like, quote from Pride and Prejudice. Charlotte Lucas says, I think she's 27 actually, but she says, I'm 27, I'm already a burden to my parents, and I'm frightened. Because she's like, not married, has
Yeah.
no prospects, nobody loves her, and so she decides to marry this guy that the main character Elizabeth Bennet is like judgy about. But she's like, this is my way to have my own life.
Yeah.
So you can't really judge Charlotte. You're a little bit like, no, she's doing what she's got to do. So if you like are interested in that character and find that interesting, this is a great read. But also if you like nature books, because there's a lot of nature writing and stuff in here that was really beautiful and fun. So guys, I cannot recommend this book enough. I loved it. And when I finished it, I was like, I just want to read it again, which is such a happy
That's
sign.
glorious. I love that.
Woohoo! So that's what I read, and I didn't read anything else. That's the book I read this week, and I loved it. 10 out of 10. A wonderful experience.
You know, it's kind of amazing because I had almost the exact same experience as you.
No.
With I finished Know My Name by Chanel Miller. Sorry, I'm just grabbing it.
Okay.
And my God.
That's to be kidding. Wow.
It is one of the best books I've ever read. Like, top of the list. Chanel Miller was born in Palo Alto in 1992. She attended the University of California, Santa Barbara's College of Creative Studies, from which she graduated with a degree in literature in 2014. From 2015 to 2018, her life was turned upside down by the sexual assault that took place at Stanford University, which led to her victim impact statement being published on BuzzFeed. The statement went viral, being read 11 million times in 4 days. Throughout the ordeal, she wrote Know My Name, created art, and made the short film I Am With You. So this book was just freaking stellar for so many reasons. But first and foremost, like, Chanel Miller is such a talented writer. Like, her writing is off the charts, insanely wonderful. Like, she's funny, she's so smart, so clever, and like her way with words is just, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I usually don't care about writing, but the writing was so good that it just like took me to another planet, man. It was so good. And like, she's obviously very vulnerable and like putting a lot on the line just for writing this book. And like, she was anonymous throughout the whole kind of ordeal. Like, even when she was in court, nobody knew what her last name was. They only knew her first name. And so the fact that she wrote this book and decided to like put her actual name on it and kind of out herself was huge, for one thing. But I love this book so much. Like, I never put sticky tabs in books, but I did that in this one, and there's tons. I actually highlighted quotes throughout the book. Like, I had to. This was, when I was reading it, I reached a point, it was, let's see, page 46 was the first time I decided, I think I'm going to start highlighting in this book. So I want to go back and reread the first 46 pages, because I'm sure I missed some that I wasn't ready yet for highlighting, because I'm very much like against annotating generally for myself. But in this book, I decided I'm definitely going to read this again, and I'm going to keep it forever. Like, this is a treasured book now, and I don't think another book is going to be able to top it for like this year. Like, I don't think anything could top this book. It's already my favorite book.
Can anything like make you highlight again? Like, I don't know. It's so rare. When was the last time that even happened ever? So
like, never ever. Yeah. And it just impacted me so much. And the other things that were similar to your reading experience was that on the weekend, I sat outside for I think 6 hours and read this book and did nothing else. It was
We
so
had a
glorious.
good reading week, baby.
We did. This is what I've been waiting for. Like, I've been waiting for a book to just like shake me out of my kind of like, not even a slump, but I feel like I haven't been like reading properly for a long time, you know, where it's like, I'm just going to really get into a book and like no distractions, you know, just only read. And oh, it was so nice. It was so nice.
So was the book all like the entire story of the book is about the case, or does it have other sections
kind
as
of
well?
Yeah, like she goes back and kind of talks about her childhood quite a bit, and like you get to know her parents, and like her parents are really interesting people too, and her little sister is also a big part of the case and just the story, and she like loves her little sister so much. So like there's entire sections where she's just kind of like talking about how much she loves her sister, which is really beautiful. But it is primarily about the case. Like the beginning of the book is her walking you through the night that it all happened, and then like the following days, and then the months and years that the trial kind of went on for, and takes you through the whole thing all the way up until basically now. Like it came out in 2019. She finished writing the book, I think, in like late 2018 or something like that. So it was all kind of, she was writing the book while it was all happening and everything. And Yeah, it's really interesting. And now I'm like, I really hope that she writes another book. And like, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, I don't care. I'll read whatever she writes, but I'm just hoping that she will have another book coming out soon, because it was so good. And I really just want everyone to read this book. Like, if I could give it 10 out of 5 stars, I would. Like, that's how much I loved it. It was, and same with you. Like, I just want to start reading it over again.
Yeah. Is there anyone that you kind of specifically recommended to, where you're like, if you liked this kind of book? Because what you just said made me think of the Jeanette McCurdy book.
Yeah.
Where it was like a memoir of someone who went through something really, really difficult in a very public way, and then wrote a memoir about it.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I guess I would say if you liked Jeanette McCurdy's book, you would probably definitely like this one. But also, I like that it's like kind of a mix of lots of different things, because it's a memoir, but it's also true crime in a way. Like, it's obviously not a murder book, but it is a true crime book.
Yes.
And so it has like that kind of exciting aspect to it a little bit, where you're like, if you enjoy reading about like court cases and stuff, which I really do, the whole court part was really cool. And just like getting to, but also just like the justice system, man, it's so frustrating to read about, but it is so interesting. And her case actually did kind of like change some things in terms of like the justice system, and how they classify rape in, I think it was in California or maybe in LA, I can't remember, but they changed a lot of things because of it, because it was so public. They kind of had to. It was like, but yeah, so basically I would recommend this book to everyone and anyone, as long as you're not triggered by sexual assault and reading about that kind of thing. Like, it's a very important book, beautifully written book, and just has all the emotions. Like, it'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry, it'll make you angry, it'll make you happy. It's one of those books that kind of just does it all, and does it very, very beautifully. And she also released a short film that's kind of like an animated film of her, with her art, and she narrates it and everything. So I highly recommend watching that as well.
Okay, we can link that. We'll link that in the description. Defo. That sounds cool. I'm so happy for us.
Right?
We did so good. We had a great reading week.
I'm so happy.
I really agreed with, I thought I just knocked a book over. I really agree with what you just said about, like, I felt like I haven't like been so like deeply excited about a book in a really long time, to the point where like I was shoving this book in my purse everywhere I went, because I was like, maybe I'll have a minute, and I haven't felt that way in so long.
I agree.
And like literally drove to the post office and watched Connor where I live, like it's really rural, so we have to like go to a post office to get our mail or whatever. It takes 2 minutes. Like, you walk in, you open our mailbox, get the mail, and come back home, right? I know how short that is, but he opened the door and I pulled out the book and I read a paragraph, and I was like, I'm so desperate to keep reading it. Like, I just wanted to keep reading. I love that also you were able to go outside, because I feel like that's like a teaser trailer for like what summer could be like reading outside a bunch.
It's my favorite. I feel like when I read outside, I just like get to read more, because I'm kind of like in the zone, and like I don't have distractions around, like, oh, I have to go put that dish in the dishwasher or whatever. Like, I can't see anything. I'm outside.
100%.
I put my headphones on so I can't hear anyone, because there's always kids running around and stuff. So I just go like into the zone, and I really did that. Like, I honestly like didn't even get up to like go to the washroom. I was like, I just need to sit here and read all damn day. And I'm so glad I did. The only thing that I think that sucks now for both of us is whatever we read next is going to be held to such a high standard. I don't know what I'm going to do.
So true. It's so true. I was thinking about that, because I finished this a couple days ago, and I haven't really had a moment to like pick the next book or whatever, but I have just sort of in the back of my mind been like, I don't know what I could pick next. Like,
I'm scared.
What I have noticed though is like, I feel like overall quality wise, I'm having a really great reading year. Like, I'm reading so many books that I'm really, really enjoying. And like I think this is the 4th book that I've given 5 stars to.
Ooh.
Out of, I've read 10. So that's 40% of the books
good.
I'm reading, I'm giving 5 stars to, which is crazy. But a lot of the books I'm reading, I've noticed, are very plot driven. The ones that I'm loving. True Grit.
Yeah, True Grit, I was going to say.
Blue Castle. Psalm for the Wild Built. They have like, the characters are well written and overall very good writing, but it's about like a really interesting story. So I think that's what I'm kind of trying to lean towards for my next pick. Like, I want to focus on something that's going to be really fun.
That's good.
Because I think that's making me want to pick it up more.
I don't know what I should do. Should I read another traumatic memoir?
Maybe.
Because it's just so good. Yeah, I know. I don't know if I want to do that, but I do want to. I do want to read something that's just gonna knock my socks off.
All right. Okay. So yeah. So you're not currently reading anything yet.
No. I mean, I'm still reading
the exact same boat.
That is really funny.
So
I'm still like listening to The Way of Kings by Brendan Sanderson, so I might just kind of listen to that for a couple days before I like try to start another book. But we'll see. So far, still really good. I'm maybe like 150 pages into it now. That's 6 hours into the audiobook. So
jeez.
I know. Wow. I've barely made a dent, and I just got a notification, not a notification, but I looked at Libby and there's 3 people waiting for it. So
that's stressful.
Okay. I'm like, whatever, that's fine. It's cool. I still have 13 days with it. I'm definitely not going to finish it in the next 13 days. So it might have to be on pause for a while.
Well, what we should do next then is we should check in on Mashed Potato May, because we've just read 2 really good mashed potato books, but let's see, how are the people doing? Okay, so the first one that's coming up for me is this really beautiful cover, Watch Over Me by Nina LaCour. Rach the Reader says, another book that's been on my TBR for over a year, and the last of my birthday books from last year. Ooh. I love that. How many books have I gotten for my birthdays that I haven't read? I'd rather not talk about that. Fingers crossed for you, Rach. I remember that book. I feel like I owned that book, and I started reading it, and I wasn't really liking it.
Yikes.
This one from Gabrielle.reads 2 is Little Women. It's a digital copy of the book, but there's a little sticker with a little mashed potato bowl underneath.
Oh my God.
Cute.
I love that.
All right, what are you seeing over there, Ray?
There's one here from Bookish Adventurer who has a copy of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and the picture of Dorian Gray, and that looks like Frankenstein. Those are some big potatoes. Big potatoes. Yeah, they say classics are some of the most mashed potato books. I'm always waiting for the right time and frame of mind to pick them up. Yeah, that's true. Classics, they can be acorn books and also be mashed potatoes. You can call them both for sure.
Ellie Reads 2 says, it's not too late to start #mashed potato May, right? Nope, it's not. It's only May 22nd when we're recording this, so you still have like 10 days almost. And the book is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. I had so many people recommending that book to me last week. I forget. We must have mentioned, I think you mentioned it maybe, or I don't remember who mentioned it, but so many people in the comments last week were like, Ariel, I think you should read A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. And that is definitely a mashed potato classic of mine. It's been sitting back there for a long time.
I have that too. Interesting. I've seen a few people posting about Piranesi by Susanna Clark. The one I'm looking at now is Katie Osha, who posted a nice hardcover copy. I feel like I've never seen that copy. But yeah, that's one that hasn't quite become a mashed potato book for me yet, but it will eventually. It will eventually.
Yeah, they all will.
Yep.
They all will. Okay, so when we record next week, it will be the 29th, which will basically be the end of Mashed Potato May. So we will do our final check-in, both for us, but also we'll check the Instagrams for the last time. So I believe in you all. Fingers crossed. And now let's move into book games.
Woo! So this game that I've created doesn't exactly have a beautiful name, but I'm calling it Guess the Plot. So I'm going to be sending you, I'll text to you 5 different book covers, and I'll just do them one at a time, but you need to tell me what you think the books are about based on the cover and title. So I'm just praying that you don't know what any of these books are about. We're gonna take a chance on this here and see what happens. So I'm going to send you the first one now. This is a book called Sad Janet by Lucy Britch.
Oh.
I love this cover.
All right. Well, in the on the video version of this, we'll definitely insert these covers here for people to see, but I will describe it for our audio listeners. So Raeleen sent me a book that has a pink gradient background, a very peachy gradient background. At the top in white font, it says a novel. And then in giant font in the middle, it says Sad Janet. But the only image is of a small whippet, a small greyhound dog in a pink sweater. And this dog looks scared.
He's so cute.
I'm going to guess that this is a book about a woman who lives in New York or another major city. And she's stressed about her job and about romance.
Okay.
Am I right?
Not exactly, but you've got some aspects potentially. So I'll just read you the synopsis here. It actually, the other fun thing is all of these books sound like books that we would like. So I'm hoping to potentially convince you to read a book or for our audience. Okay. Janet works at a rundown dog shelter in the woods. She wears black, loves the Smiths, and can't wait to get rid of her passive-aggressive boyfriend. Her brain is full of anxiety, like one of those closets you never want to open because everything will fall out and crush you. She has a meddlesome family, eccentric coworkers, one old friend who's left her for Ibiza, and one new friend who's really just a neighbor she sees in the hallway. Most of all, Janet has her sadness, a comfortable cloak she uses to insulate herself from the oppressions of the wider world. And then it kind of goes on. It looks like there's some kind of like sci-fi-ish aspect almost, because it says there's like a new pill that they're offering that can give you a short-term taste of happiness. So it's like an anti-depression pill that's kind of like supposed to just solve all your problems when you take it. And so she's just like trying to get through Christmas is kind of the vibe. Sounds like she's very anxious and depressed and is just trying to get through the holidays. But this book apparently is quite funny as well. I was reading some reviews. It seems like it's kind of like a sad happy kind of book.
Yeah.
So
I was definitely feeling the unsound women's vibe.
Yes.
That's awesome. Okay, it sounds great.
All right.
And I've looked it up. It's only 288 pages.
Right. That's also fantastic. Okay. Next up is a new book from Emma Cline that I didn't know about until yesterday. It's called The Guest. And the cover is super awesome.
Okay, this is funny that you show this because I've definitely seen this around loads.
Oh, okay.
But I have no idea what it's about.
Yeah.
Like I have no clue. So what do I know about Emma Cline? I know that she wrote that other book she's written two books. Wasn't one of them called Daddy? And then it was Yellow.
Oh, I forgot that was her, if that is. And then I know about The Girls. That one's about a cult.
And then The Girls, which is about a cult. Yes, I've just confirmed. Daddy was a short story collection. The Guest, what I'm looking at here, you guys, is a very bright Kermit green cover with blue font at the top that says The Guest, Emma Cline. Emma Cline is at the phase in her career where her name is the same size as the title font. So that's interesting. And then the only other thing on the cover is a hand reaching out. It looks like the hand from the Sistine Chapel of Adam reaching out to God, but you don't see God's hand reaching out back. You only see the man's hand. And it's in a blue, like it looks like it was digitally scanned in and like a blue filter was put in it or whatever. Really, it's giving no clues whatsoever. The only thing that I would say is like the font looks a little westerny.
Oh yeah.
Maybe. But that could just be a coincidence. Like they just thought it was a cool font. I'm gonna guess this is about a woman who is sad and is yearning. She's yearning. That's why the hand is reaching out. Yeah. She's a yearning character. That's all I've got.
This is also an interesting experiment in do book covers make sense?
Yeah, seriously.
Okay, so this one I will read to you now. A misstep at a dinner party and the older man she's been staying with dismisses her with a ride to the train station and a ticket back to the city. With few resources and a waterlogged phone, but gifted with an ability to navigate the desires of others, Alex stays on Long Island and drifts like a ghost through the hedged lanes, gated driveways, and sun-blasted dunes of a rarefied world that is, at first, closed to her. Propelled by desperation and a mutable sense of morality, she spends the week leading up to Labor Day, moving from one place to the next, a cipher leaving destruction in her wake. So another kind of like unsound heroines or whatever. But yeah, it's called The Guest. I guess that's another thing that we didn't really focus on in your guest.
I forgot to think about the title.
Yeah. So yeah, it seems like she was like staying with some guy or something, and then he kicks her out basically, and then she's just left like drifting around, like going from place to place. Like it seems like she's not really living anywhere specifically, which is kind of interesting. So I'm like, that sounds pretty cool. Okay, decent guess though. She's probably yearning for a home. All right, I'm sending up.
It's just propelled by a desperation and mutable sense of morality. Exactly. I feel like that could be interpreted as yearning.
True. All right, next up is a book called Big Swiss by Jen Began.
Okay. This is a book cover in one of my favorite genres that is like an old painting that has been cropped or used in some way to be the backdrop of a book, such as, if you can imagine, My Year of Rest and Relaxation, which is just like a beautiful painting. Would I call this beautiful painting? Probably not, because the woman looks like it's kind of stressful. So basically, we've got this lady who is taking up almost all of the frame, but it's from right under her boobs to her hair, and she's upside down. It looks like she's leaning on, or like she's falling downstairs.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like
that's
to
true.
Me. And her boobs are very prevalent in her shirt. So that seems like not a detail not to notice.
Yeah, true.
She's wearing a very frilly white shirt. Her hair is very lush and going everywhere, but her face looks really like pained. And like her tongue is sticking out, sort of her eyes are really widened, maybe because she's falling down some stairs.
Possibly, yes.
I think I recognize this font. Because I was like learning about cool fonts the other day, and this is apparently a pretty popular font that's going around right now, and I don't remember the name of it though, so I'm kind of annoyed. But anyway, it says in yellow font, Big Swiss, a novel, Jen Began.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm guessing. I mean, it's another unsound woman. I'm guessing
It's gotta be.
I'm gonna guess though that this is somebody who's gone through a traumatic event. Not just something like slightly minor. I'm guessing something pretty big has happened to her, hence the falling down, hence the crisis. A woman in crisis. That's what I'm guessing.
Okay. I don't know if she's in crisis, but I will read it to you, the synopsis here. Her name is Greta. Okay. Greta lives with her friend Sabine in an ancient Dutch farmhouse in Hudson, New York. She spends her days transcribing therapy sessions for a sex coach who calls himself She becomes infatuated with his newest client, a repressed married woman she affectionately refers to as Big Swiss, since she's tall, stoic, and originally from Switzerland. They both have dark histories, but Big Swiss chooses to remain unattached to her suffering while Greta continues to be tortured by her past. One day, Greta recognizes Big Swiss's voice at the dog park. In a panic, she introduces herself with a fake name, and they quickly become enmeshed. Although Big Swiss is unaware of Greta's true identity, Greta has never been more herself with anyone. So...
Okay, I was totally wrong.
Totally wrong. I mean, maybe she falls down some stairs and that's why she's so cuckoo crazy. Because this is a pretty crazy thing to do.
We got a little bit of a stalkerish vibe going on, don't we?
Yeah, it almost is like reminding me of the woman in the purple skirt a tiny bit. It's got a little bit of that vibe where it's like, you don't really know this person, but you're, I'm
gonna be honest, this cover's stressing me out. Send me the next one. I don't like looking at this one.
There's another cover of Big Swiss with 2 dogs. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I've seen that one, definitely. They're like, one dog is licking the other dog.
Yeah.
Well, like trying to.
I feel like, I don't know if either of those covers really make sense for the book, but what do I know?
Stressful.
Yeah. I think you're gonna like this one.
Oh, now this is funny. Because I actually do know this book, right?
Oh, perfect. Well, tell me what it's about then.
Well, do I remember
exactly.
though? Maybe not. So this book is called Several People Are Typing by Calvin Kasulk. And the way it looks is like a phone if you were watching like an Apple event and when they're like announcing the new iOS or whatever, they're like announcing new features. And so they have like all of these graphics of the iPhone like tearing apart. And like, so you're seeing the layers of the phone. Like one layer is the glass, the next layer is the wires, the next layer is whatever. So it looks like that kind of like a phone being taken apart. And then there's a little icon that looks like, I don't know what to call this type of drawing other than like, it looks like the type of men and women and stuff that are on washrooms.
Oh yeah. He's a stick figure.
You know what I mean? Like,
but yeah, like
a stick figure. That's it. Thank you.
You're
Good Lord. But it's a guy who's just like on a table and he looks dejected. I do think I remember what this book is about now.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, it's a book about, a guy who works at a startup or like a tech startup or something, like a normal corporate businessy job. and his consciousness gets uploaded to the Slack chat.
Yes.
If you haven't heard of Slack, I'm sure you have because everyone has by this point, but Slack is like an app that people use on their computers at businesses, which is like a giant MSN sort of for people to talk, and there's different groups and stuff, but he's been uploaded to it. He's part of the Slack now, and like people don't believe him, and he's like, how do I get out of Slack?
Yes, you are correct.
Oh, wow, okay.
That is what it's about.
I bought this book for Connor.
Oh, really?
Because I thought he'd like it.
Yeah, I
Connor's
feel like
a software engineer.
I thought you might have heard of it, but I was like, if you haven't, you've gotta, because it sounds so fun.
I would have.
Because I love that. It's like a little bit goofy.
It sounds crazy.
Because like he's like literally uploaded into into a chat, which just sounds crazy.
Pretty cool.
Okay,
yeah.
well, I'll send you the last one now. Since you got that one right. You might have heard of this one too, but this one just sounds so cool.
Ooh, I have not heard of this
perfect.
one. But is this my favorite of the covers? Yeah, I think it's
very awesome.
This is my favorite cover. Okay, this book is called Temporary. Yellow background with a drawing of a woman. She's illustrated in a very particular way that's kind of like thin line drawings and like a little sparse. She's got a really long neck. She's looking over her shoulder. She looks nervous. She's wearing a green Argyle sweater, and she has a mask that's kind of pushed up over her head. But so it kind of looks like she has two heads or two faces.
Yeah.
And the book, it's called Temporary by Hilary Lecter. So metaphorically, I'm getting some serious vibes over here, right? Like a woman feels the need to wear a mask, and when she is unmasked, she looks really nervous.
Yeah.
Like she needs this mask. So I'm guessing another unsound woman. I'm guessing a person who... I'm just going to make a wild guess to try and be more specific because I feel like I've been pretty vague with my guesses. Yeah. I'm going to guess this is a story about a woman who has moved somewhere a woman who's had something go terribly wrong, and so she's paranoid that people are going to find her out or going to discover what she's done, and that's why she's like looking over her shoulder. That's why she's so anxious. Temporary, maybe she's like part of like a witness protection thing or something. She's got to flee, and the mask, I don't think that's real.
Okay.
I think that's just for the cover.
Yeah, it's not real. It's just fake. Well, you're not exactly right, but I love that guess. I really love that guess. Okay, here's the synopsis. In Temporary, a young woman's workplace is the size of the world. She fills increasingly bizarre placements in search of steadiness, connection, and something at last to call her own. Whether it's shining an endless closet of shoes, swabbing the deck of a pirate ship, assisting an assassin, or filling in for the chairman of the board, for the mythical Temporary, there is nothing more personal than doing your job. So Temporary refers to the fact that she's a temp. She just gets sent to lots of different jobs. But doesn't that sound fun? Cool, it's kind of like there's no such thing as an easy job.
That's what I was thinking.
It's got similar
instantly.
vibes because she keeps just like hopping around, but it's like super bizarre. Like pirate ship? What is that all about?
Yeah.
So that's the one that I think sounds the most like a book that we would enjoy.
100%. When did this come out? March 2020. Ooh. 208 pages. Sign me the hell up.
Yeah, I think we need that one.
Sounds great.
Well, that's the game.
Damn. Okay, I don't think I did very well, but I had fun. And you're right. All of these sound like really good books.
Right? Well,
that's awesome.
There you go.
Well, thank you everyone for hanging out with us for another episode of Books Unbound. We have some fun little news that I should have put at the beginning of the episode, but quite frankly, I forgot until now. Well, as you guys know, we have merch. We have some fun, cute, pretty merch. We have hats. We have our ball caps that like people love, and we have some still. So it's spring, summertime, guys. It's time to get your little book ball caps. And we also have some pins and stuff. But the thing that is exciting is that it was just like they were the warehouse where we have them was holding some as reserves as part of their like policy. They're like, we have to have a few in reserve all of the time. But they found more than they thought they had, and they've decided to change their policy. So basically they don't have reserves anymore. So we've uncovered a couple of mugs and some pins, which we thought we'd sold out of, but we actually now have a handful of each, including the much wanted yellow All Books Are Winners mug, which they sold out real quick, and we thought we didn't have any more, but now there's I think 5 more,
something like
or
that,
7
so
more or something.
Get them while you can.
Get them while you can. And we decided that it would be fun to do a discount. So if you use the code WAREHOUSE, and I'll link this in the description as well if you want to be reminded. I'll write it down, warehouse code. But if you use the code warehouse, you can get 10% off of our mugs and our pins because we just want to get them out of our warehouse here. Yeah, so if you've been thinking, I'd love a new mug, or I'd love a pin, or I'd love a hat, or I'd love to support that podcast, damn it, it's your time. It's your time.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out with us. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We're going to go record our Patreon mini podcast, Movie Tub, where we talk about the movies and shows we've been watching. And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.